Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, Discover with Jesse. So, how you guys doing? The weekend is almost over. It's Sunday over here, and I'm recording this video Sunday night. Oh, the weekend is almost over. Okay, so guys, so Monday and the hustling and all that continues. Okay, so I want to discuss a topic today. Maybe let's say this is story time. Come. Where is your popcorn? Bring your popcorn and your chair. I have story for you people. So how you guys doing? You're welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is the first time you are tuning into my YouTube channel, the first time you're seeing my face with my big head, okay, then you are welcome. Don't go nowhere. Watch this video to the end, and if you find this video interesting, then you can hit the subscribe button and the notification bell above, so that whenever I drop a video, you'll be notified and you'll be among the first people to watch the video. And if you're a returning viewer, as you have been watching my videos, I want to say a very big thank you to you. Special thank you to you all for making our time to watch my videos. So today, what do I have for you guys? Okay, let's discuss, one of the greatest men that ever came from Africa. Mm. Okay, now I want to tell you guys how the great Nelson Mandela, who later became the president of South Africa, exiled to Nigeria, during the time of the apartheid era. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how the great Nelson Mandela, came to live in Nigeria for 6 months or over 6 months. Okay, in Nigeria, and how he was protected in Nigeria. South Africa and Nigeria, or the whole of Africa, we are one people. So sometimes it's even painful when you see a fellow African, having issues with the other African. We are all one people, and I think we should just we are there for one another or each other. You understand? Because we all need ourselves. With no country is an island, we can't do without each other. I want to say a very big shout out to my South African audience. You guys have been making me so happy by watching my videos and getting interactive in the comment section. So, guys, without wasting much time, let's talk a little bit, about Nelson Mandela before I tell you guys how he lived in Nigeria. Oh, it's such an honor to have, the great Nelson Mandela to, live in our country at that time. Okay, so Nelson Mandela, the great Nelson Mandela, was born in Transkei in South Africa. He was born on July 18, I think 1918. Okay, he was born in Transkei, and he's of the Tembu tribe of South Africa. Shout out to the Tembu people. You guys are so courageous. In fact, not just the Tembu, South Africans, they are courageous. What South Africans went through during that era, and they kept on pushing. This will let you know that South Africans are so courageous, and they fear nobody, they fear nothing. The South Africans, when they want something, they have to get it. They don't give up. They will make sure they fight until they get what they want. That's one thing I've learned about the South Africans. They are so courageous. They fear nothing. They don't want you to trample upon their rights. They always stand up, for their rights. South Africa is a blessed country. So with me, with saying with the little things I said, yeah, of course, I told you that he was born in Transkei, South Africa on July 18th, 1918, of the tribe of Tembu. Yeah, so Nelson Mandela is a global human rights icon, and the first black South African president. Yes, the world remembers him as a model of statesmanship and leadership. Let me tell you something. He really, really, really fought for South Africans. The freedom South Africans are enjoying today, the people back then in the apartheid era, they made sure they fought, they did everything possible to make sure that they get their freedom. And look at South Africa today. Look at South Africa. They are doing amazingly great. check out their country. It's very beautiful, and I just love the way they organize themselves. Okay, so he was born on July 18, 1918. Sorry for always saying this, but you know, he's a one great man I love so much. I just want to talk about everything about him. He served as president for just one term. Now let's talk about this. A man that went to prison for 27 years. 27 years of his life he was in prison, for the sake of, his country, because he was fighting for his country. He was charged, he was put in prison for 27 years. This man came out, contested election and won. And he was only in office for one term. Like, wow. This is unlike some African leaders, the sit tight syndrome. There is this sit tight syndrome, regarding African leaders. But this man did just one term, and then that was it. He wasn't really, interested in ruling South Africa for so long. I tell you, if he contested more than once, he was still going to win, because the love they have for him, not just his country, beyond the borders of South Africa. But he decided just to do one term. You see, he's someone that, he's not power drunk or power thirsty. Okay, he's a great man. He's more than what even people say. He's a great man. Yes, I love him so much. And I pray one day I'll visit South Africa, so that I will take a picture, beside his statue, because I have seen this big statue of the great Nelson Mandela, and I pray one day I'll be able to take a picture there. Okay, so he fled to Nigeria. He fled to Nigeria. This is before he became president, the apartheid era, when the struggle was still going on. He fled to Nigeria, in 1963. In 1963, the great Nelson Mandela fled to Nigeria. He was arrested for seditious activities and prosecuted for treason in 1956. Okay, we are still going to go back to him living in Nigeria. Okay, just trying to tell you some things. Okay, that he was arrested, for seditious activities in South Africa and prosecuted for treason in 1956. Okay, he lived with when he came to Nigeria in 1963, he lived with a minister. Okay, he lived with Mbazulike Amechi, the minister of aviation. That minister was also a nationalist, and he was, someone that also wanted Africa to just be independent. You understand? He just had that same mentality with the great Nelson Mandela. So the president of Nigeria then was Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, and the premier of the Eastern region, who in the person of Dr. Michael Okpara. So these two people, recommended that, the great Nelson Mandela should stay with someone that has, that is the same caliber, you understand, with him. So they recommended that he stays with the Minister of Aviation. Then, that's Mbazulike Amechi. I think he was secretary of the House of Assembly, or something at that time, before he became a minister, right? I don't know. If you know, tell me in the comment section. So he lived with Mbazulike Amechi, the Minister of Aviation. So you see, the great Nelson Mandela was welcomed in Nigeria. He lived with the minister. He went out with the minister, took a stroll with the minister. The minister made sure that the great Nelson Mandela was so comfortable in Nigeria. The Nigerian state, the Nigerian government, made sure that Nelson Mandela felt safe in Nigeria and was treated so well in Nigeria. In this world we have to treat each other or one another. We treat ourselves, with respect. When your brother is in trouble, try as much as possible to help him, and don't give him out, you understand, to his enemies. You just try and protect. You understand? So Nigeria made sure that the great Nelson Mandela was protected, and lived, a good life in Nigeria. So narrating the experience with the Nigerian Vanguard in an interview. Now I'm talking about the minister that the great Nelson Mandela lived with. So he's the one now that is narrating this experience I'm going to talk about now. Narrating his experience in his hometown, Okpo, in Anambra State in December 2013. The Honorable Minister Mbazulike said the 6 months Mandela spent with him were quite, memorable. Was quite memorable. You know, uh, Sorry, at that time, the honorable minister was, a parliamentary secretary. Yeah, a parliamentary secretary, and also a member of the parliament before he became a minister. Okay, so in 1993, shortly after, his release, because Nelson Mandela, let me now tell you something. When he was living with, the honorable minister, he lived there for like 6 months or more, and then one day he told the minister that he just needs to go back to his country, South Africa, that whatever he faces there, there is no problem. If they put him in prison or do anything, to him, that is going to even spur, increase the, nationalist movement in South Africa. It's going to increase the movement to free the South African people from the apartheid era. So he was like, no, I need to go back to my country. You see, South Africans, I told you, are so courageous. They don't run away from, a struggle. They stand. So the great Nelson Mandela, he felt that need, that he needs to go back to South Africa. He needs to go there and still be in the forefront to free his people. And that was exactly what he did. When he was in Nigeria, because he was with someone in government, maybe the UK or the South African secret police or agency or whatever they call them, intelligence, they couldn't do anything because he was with someone in government in Nigeria. But then he said, no, I need to go back to my home. I need to go back to my country. You understand? So he went back to South Africa. Okay. So in 1993, shortly after his release, okay, before I go into that, when he went back to South Africa, let me finish the story. He was arrested immediately and was sent to prison. In that prison, to tell you that he's a great man and he's somebody that doesn't forget the favor or the good things you did for him. Do you know that in prison in South Africa, he was writing letters to the honorable minister, the minister of aviation, the great man that he lived with, the honorable minister Amechi Mbazulike. So the great, Nelson Mandela kept on writing letters to, the minister in Nigeria, and that's nice. He kept on writing. Even when he came out from prison, he kept on writing, letters to the honorable minister in Nigeria. So in 1993, shortly after his release, the great Nelson Mandela visited Nigeria in appreciation of the hospitality shown to him when he was in the country. The hospitality shown to the great Nelson Mandela. I told you Nigeria took very good care of him. He made sure he lived his life in Nigeria nicely. So when he came out of prison, he came to Nigeria and other countries to show appreciation for their support, for the hospitality, shown to him when he was in the country in Nigeria on exile. And he made sure to meet with, the man he lived with, the honorable minister, aviation minister then, Azubi, uh, what is his name? I'm sorry for forgetting his name. I'm gonna call his name right now. The Honorable Minister Mbazulike. Okay, so you see, he was in our country, the great Nelson Mandela. He was in Nigeria, and he was in Nigeria for 6 months or more. You understand? And the hospitality, you see, he was thanking, the country, the honorable minister. Nigeria made sure that they supported South Africa during that struggle. Nigeria supported South Africa a whole lot. There's one thing about Nigeria you need to know. There's one thing about Nigeria you need to know. Nigeria is one country in Africa that doesn't turn its back on any African country. Whenever any African country is having an issue and they run to Nigeria for help, Nigeria is always willing to help. No wonder they call Nigeria the giant of Africa. They don't call Nigeria the giant of Africa because of only the massive landmass in Nigeria. No, another reason why they call Nigeria the giant of Africa is because Nigeria is always in the forefront to make sure that other African countries succeed. Other African countries are not under any form of oppression and all that. So what did you learn in this story? What did you learn in this story? And good thing, South Africa, look at the level they are today. They did not just, get their freedom. They also built their country into what it is today. So, what did you learn from this? Did you ever know? You as a South African watching me, did you ever know that the great Nelson Mandela lived in Nigeria? You know, Thank you for watching this video. Anything you think I didn't say, well, you can correct me in the comment section, as nobody's above mistake. Thank you guys for making our time to watch this video, and I'll be dropping more interesting videos. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share this video. See you guys in the next video. Bye.